Our fingers and thumbs are what separate us from the animals, which is why monkeys are only proficient in cymbals and grinder organs. So what better way to celebrate the essence of what makes us human by using our fingers to learn some fingerstyle guitar. So we're going to do just a couple different kind of introductory patterns, and kind of the way I like to do it, there's a lot of different ways to come about it, but this is just a good way to start to think about it. And we are going to play a little thing I wrote for a musical that I co-wrote, and we're just using it because it's kind of easy. The chords are easy, and it's going to sound like this. So basically, it's 4 really similar patterns kind of thrown together in a way that's kind of cool to play, and we're going to talk about some principles of fingerstyle guitar. So the first chord is going to be a D7, right? So you got your ring finger on the high E string, 2nd fret, pointer finger on the B string, 1st fret, middle finger on the G string, 2nd fret. And we're working on the bottom 4 strings. And now the fingers you use are actually really important for this. And this is going to be a thumb and a 2-finger type pattern here. Now some of them you can do a thumb and a single finger. Sometimes you use 3 fingers, and like flamenco stuff, you use 4 fingers a lot of times, but this is just going to get you started using 2 fingers, right? So we've got this D7 chord, and we're going to assign strings to a certain digit, if you will, right? So the D string and the G string are going to be your thumb's territory, right? And we're going to create what's called a pulse. A pulse is just kind of like if you were to have a metronome on. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the pulse. And we're going to alternate between the D and the G string. So whatever tempo you want to do it at, super slow, 1, 2, 3, 4. Your thumb is responsible for going back and forth between keeping that pulse. And now your fingers are actually going to be responsible for hitting certain notes in addition to that. So we just got to keep this nice and steady, right? Now, really quickly, just kind of a way to show the attack of your fingers on the strings. Your thumb should be brushing it. You should be using the side of your thumb to brush the string. And if you notice, like when I hit the D string and then I hit the G string, when I go to the G string, I'm muting the D string. And then when I go back to the D string, I'm muting the G string. So it's not a sustained, it's like it's kind of like a back and forth type thing, which gives you that. Now your fingers, okay? Your pointer finger is going to be assigned to the B string, first off. And your middle finger is going to be assigned to the E string. Now when you first start, it might seem really uncomfortable trying to maneuver your hand in a way to get this working together. Now, a lot of different styles will have you kind of come straight at it. But right now we're going to work on tilting your fingers a little bit so you get kind of the inside part of your finger and you're kind of coming up on the strings. And the reason I do this is because I think this is a way to easily make a repetitive thing that you can kind of do on a loop. Because if you have your fingers come up into your hand, almost kind of like the brakes of a bicycle, right? If they come up into your hand, they'll come straight down in the exact same spot every way. So you can do a very repeatable thing right here. If you come like this, you have to find the strings again. And eventually you get good at that. But to start off, I want to start doing this where you brush with the side of your thumb and you come into your hand with your fingers, right? So again, pointer finger G string, middle finger, or pointer finger B string, middle finger high E string. And this is a good technique in case you want to do more fingerstyle stuff later on, like it all kind of comes together, and this is just a good way to get in a comfortable groove of doing a repeatable pattern, right? So this is all going to be on this D7 chord. The first bar, the first 4 count, is going to sound like this. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. No matter how slow you have to do to get that on a loop, this is going to be the first pattern we're going to do. So 1 is just the D string by itself. 1, 2. 2 is going to be the G string with your thumb and the high E string with your middle finger. So 1, 2. Or think of 1, both, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? So 3, I'm going to go back to the D string with my thumb. So we've got 1 on the D string. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now the and of 3, the 3 and, we call it the and of 3, is your pointer finger by itself hitting the B string before your thumb goes down to the D string, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4. 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 So this is going to be the first pattern we do. But in this progression, that's only going to be the first bar. Because the second bar is going to be similar, but a little bit different, right? So here are the first 2 bars of the progression. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. So the second bar is a 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. And on the 1, where we have the D string with your thumb, we're going to add the middle finger. 1, so we get both of them. 1, 2, thumb on the G string. 1, 2, and. Right? So the and is always the and of 2 is your pointer finger. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Now the 3 and 4 on the back end of this bar is a very common pattern that you'll see. You just go thumb, index, thumb, middle. And in fact, if you can just practice that as your own pattern on any chord, it'll sound great. Like here's just an A minor chord. You're just kind of getting that sequence, that pulse in between, and you're training all this rhythm into just certain fingers and your thumb and kind of counterplaying off of each other. So 3 and 4 and on the D7 chord. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. So here's the first bar. Second bar. One, 2, and 3, and 4, and. So far we haven't moved this D7 chord. We've just kind of sat here. Now we're going to change to kind of like a C9 chord right here, right? So I've got my ring finger on the C, which is 3A, my middle finger on 2D, and my pinky on 3B, right? So we're going to take the whole sequence we just did and move it all up a string. So now your thumb is responsible for the A and the D string, and your pointer finger is responsible for the G string, and your middle finger is responsible for the B string. So we just moved everything up a string, right? So coming from the D7, C. So for this new C chord, we're going to do a 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and, right? So really similar to the other one. 1 by itself, 2 is D string and B string, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and, just like we did in the other part. 3 and 4, and, A, G, D, B, right? If you want to just work that a little bit. But we're going to add it to the back of this bar. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we're going to slide it up 2 frets, or down 2 frets, whatever you think. Now, this next chord, we're just going to manipulate. We're going to kind of do halftime each. So the first 2 counts, 1 and 2 and, just like we did on the back end of the other bar. So A, G, D, B. And then I'm going to open up the A string and swap my pinky for my pointer finger, so I'm on 3B. Okay, so it's just a switch from this chord, but it's the same pattern. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So the last 2 bars, starting with the C, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then the more you do it while keeping the pulse steady, the quicker you're going to get. So let's go through all 4 bars of this, starting on the D7. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. All right? So I think the trickiest part is assigning strings to your fingers and then being able to move them throughout. And you can use this with anything. Any kind of chord that you can play, like just take something totally different, like an E major chord, right? Let's just do that same thing where we assign 4 strings, the lowest 2 being your thumb, back and forth between E and A, and and then your pointer finger's on D, and your middle finger's on G. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so once you kind of get the pulse in it, you can just start swapping out. Like, do I want to put maybe a higher string on the and of 1 or the and of 2? Do I want to leave more space and just have the downbeats, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4? And you can really create a lot of tension and make it seem like you're speeding it up by loading the back end of these beats, right? So when I say loading the back end of the bar, it's like 1, 2, 3, and 4, and, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. And sometimes you can make a song seem like it's speeding up without changing the tempo just by taking a loaded back end of a bar and adding a little more movement to it. Now, the last thing I kind of want to talk about here is something that's responsible for this certain kind of sound. And this is kind of like a bluesy, bluegrass-ish type style, I guess. And that's choking the notes with your left hand, right? So I've got my right hand kind of doing this thing. But my left hand is actually responsible for the sustain or the choke of the note, right? So notice how I'm just kind of bouncing off it. I'm releasing the pressure of my left hand to choke that note and make just a real quick hit. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And what it does, it creates a lot more space, and you can hear more clearly the individual things going on. If I left my left hand down, sustained the whole time, it would sound a little bit different. Which maybe that's what you're going for, and that's cool. But for this one in particular, I'm using my left hand almost as a sustained control. Like if you look at it, it's kind of jumping on and off. You can see the pressure coming down. And that's just developing the timing between your left and your right hand, which is a really, really important thing to work on.